The Ford Falcon is an icon of Aussie roads, and this is the end of the line, the last ever, after more than 50 years of local production. It's called the XR8 Sprint. It starts life as an XR8, complete with a supercharged V8 engine, but it's got some styling tweaks, black wheels, a subtle black rear spoiler, and some stripes and stickers. Even the exhaust tips are charcoal black. But this is the change that'll interest most people. Same basic 5-litre supercharged V8 engine. In the previous XR8 it made 335 kilowatts of power, not bad. A same version of this engine in the FPV GT, the final one, the GTF, made 351 kilowatts. And at the time Ford said, that's it, we won't put any more in there. And indeed they're right, because in this car, 345 kilowatts, almost bang in the middle. So it is a masterstroke of marketing then. Ford's given the enthusiasts a little bit extra to keep them happy, but not enough to get up the noses of those who bought the most powerful Falcon ever. So that little bit extra, is it worth it? Can you notice the difference? Well, in a word, no. I'm sure if you put the stopwatch on them and line two up side by side, there might be a tiny, tiny difference. But at the end of the day, this engine's always been a super strong engine, and it's no different in this car. Besides, the biggest issue you've got with the Falcon XR8 Sprint is actually harnessing all that power, getting it to the bitumen. There's so much grunt going through those rear tyres, and the rear suspension just doesn't have the geometry or something to make it all go to the road when you want it to. So a wet road, for example, you're going to be wheel spinning. Even a dry road, if you tramp it off the line, the electronics are super busy trying to sort the whole thing out. And that's a shame, because it could be a quicker car. Now, most people in independent testing are getting around 5 seconds for the 0 to 100 dash, so it's quick as it is, but to be able to shave another 2 or 3 tenths off that purely with some better rear end traction would certainly be an advantage. And that rear end can also get pretty lively around corners. If you start powering on out of a bend, you've got so much torque, you've got all this grunt trying to sort itself out, and all of a sudden you can have the tail sliding around, or at the very least you can have the electronics again trying to kick in and just trying to stop that wheel spin, contain it all. And that's despite the fact that this is on a new set of rubber. It's got Pirelli P0s. Fords typically run with Dunlop for their performance cars. This one's on a stickier set of Pirellis, and even then it's challenging them. Now that's a shame, because the Falcon does do plenty right. This one's got slightly stiffer suspension, so you're going to notice the bumps a bit more, but it's not out of control, and it's got fairly good body control for what is a big sedan. And the brakes too are really strong, a nice set of 6-piston Brembos, the same ones out of the Falcon GT. Well, I'm not entirely convinced about the gold paint. These days people are more into red and black, possibly even blue, but Ford's gone a bit retro, gold. Another thing that's a bit retro is the interior. The only thing to really tell this car apart are the Sprint badges, which are sort of slashed all over the joint. The rest of it is just looking a bit tired. The Falcon generally has not had a whole lot done to it for a few years now, and the interior is showing it. And the seating position as well, it is just so hard to get in a comfortable spot. The steering wheel for me doesn't go up high enough, and I wouldn't mind it coming out a little bit further as well, and you just sort of never seem quite planted in the car. But the Falcon faithful will no doubt see that as somehow missing the mark. This car is about a final fling, a celebration, a goodbye to the longest running nameplate in Australian motoring history. Now for that you do have to pay. You're looking at about $60,000, and really the biggest change is the fact that it is limited edition and you get those Sprint badges everywhere. The rest of the car is not wildly different to the XR8 we saw previously, and all up you're paying around $7,000 more. So does the XR8 Sprint hit its target? Is it a fitting farewell to the Ford Falcon? I'm not entirely convinced. It seems more parts bin special than anything genuinely special. That said, there are only 750 of them produced for Australia, and they got snapped up incredibly quickly. So this Falcon could turn out to be a genuinely good investment.